Hey, you crazy cats! 42's live streams and videos are simply not available on vinyl. You will have to go to the YouTubes for that. So if you want content about British traditions and culture, cutting edge social commentary from an unapologetically patriotic perspective, along with a side order of madness you simply will not find anywhere else, then this is the place for you. And to all those early adapters in the chat, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That's how you get the good stuff and make sure you never miss a tasty treat. So with that being said and done, squeeze yourself in. Let's get into it. You know you want to. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Please delete as applicable because the internet is worldwide and time zones are still a thing. And we've got a sort of decently enough from the intro do on the screen. And with no further ado, I'm going to welcome my guest for tonight's stream, the professional co-host, Mr. Pakka. What about you, chum?
Hello, how are you?
Doing good. How's yourself?
I'm all right. I'm all good.
Yes. Your second stream of the evening?
Yeah, I'm doing well today. Nothing for a fortnight and then 2 in a day.
Yeah, it was a very good stream with Chris earlier on. I enjoyed that.
I had fun. It was a good stream, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Right. Now I'm going to say hello to a couple of people in the chat. Mr. Budgie Burger, first in with the crazy cats. Rich, RPW Media. Rich, I sent you an email. We'll talk about that in a minute. The real Vincent Griffin's in. What about you, chum? Welcome aboard and thank you for coming. Mr. Pakka, as always, obviously is here. The Dave's Waffle House is in. I'll be giving you a shout in a minute. Anglo-Saxon's in. Evening, brother. Welcome aboard. Some stuff you're probably going to like here tonight. And some stuff I'm not quite sure about, but sure we'll get there. Linda Hunter's in from down under. Welcome aboard. Willie Stazzer Tanger's in from Arizona. We're doing good. We've got fucking 3 continents here. Yeah, you missed the Dangerfield. However, there is rumor that he may be streaming again tomorrow, but we shall see. Now, what am I doing next? Thanks, Wally. I'll do the shout outs now. The first one I'm going to talk about is Ragnar Arnspear. I believe he is streaming tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. I believe he will have a guest. I'm not sure who. Right. The other thing. And the Hunter. Yeah, St. Bridget did not have her medal taken back by the Vatican. She was never recognized by the Vatican in the first place. Seems to be a bit of a story with Irish saints. There was one of them was canonized, and it was neither Patrick or Bridget, but we will get there. Edmondson, what about you, chum? Anglo reckons it's toffee. I think you're probably right. Honestly, don't know. Right. Other shows I normally give a shout out to. One would be Robin, Courage is the Cure. However, Robin is taking a couple of weeks off social media and the constant streaming. I really do not blame her. She streams about 3 times a week on about 7 different platforms and does a lot of work behind that again as well. So yeah. Strange that. Right. We'll come on to that. Right. So Robin's taking a break for a couple of weeks. She was also going to be the guest on next week's last Saturday stream. However, obviously she's taking a break. She's not going to be. We're going to reschedule that for whenever she comes back. Which
I can't hear you, 42. In the chat area. Yeah, we can't hear you, 42.
Are we back? Are we back?
You're back now.
Yeah, fuck. This mic is doing my head in. I think it's actually the connection to the computer or something. I really don't know. Right. Anyway, Rich, RPW Media. Get across and follow this guy if you haven't already done so. If you're here, you probably already have. But Rich is definitely booked in for not next week, but the next end of the stream after that in April. However, Rich, if you want to come on, I sent you an email. If you want to come on next week instead, or as well as, you're very welcome to do so. However, I fully understand that it's very short notice and you may not be able to. So there's that. But get yourself over to Rich. He does a really good job. He'll round up all the political madness that's going on from an American perspective. And he also has a website that is a mine of useful information. So anything you need to look up, you'll find it there. I'm just scrolling down the... Perfect. Thank you so much. I say I seen the post from Robin yesterday, and I got the emails out today, which is quite unusual for me because I have been slow in my communications lately, mostly to do with night shift and not knowing while I'm fucking coming going. That's your thing, Pakka. I've decided I must be getting too old for this night shift malarkey. I think that's what's happening. I'm just getting too fucking old for it. And the other show I'm going to give a shout out to is, where is he? He is in here somewhere. Oh, Blackjack Guitars in. Welcome aboard, Blackjack. Thank you so much for coming along. Where'd he go? The Waffle House. The Duck King. Yep. Dave's Waffle House. Every weeknight from 8:30, 8 o'clock if you want to listen to the music from Monday Club Records. I have no idea what happened in the duck race last night because the wonderful, super sexy Emma G and I, we were out at the Opera House. Yes, we were. We were at Belfast's Grand Opera House. We watched a musical. We watched the musical of Miss Saigon. And what I can say is that the acting was great, the choreography was great, the orchestra, because if you go to an opera house, you're always getting a live orchestra. They were brilliant. You couldn't fault it. But Miss Saigon seems to be short of fucking story. So there is that. I would say anybody that's thinking about going to see Miss Saigon, I would advise them to go and watch Les Miserables instead, because it's basically the same story, but Les Miserables actually has a story to it, and Miss Saigon's a bit of a fucking hodgepodge. But there you go. But it was a very pleasant evening, and we were sitting up in the Gods. Do you know where the Gods is in a theatre? Mr. Pakka?
You asking me?
Yeah.
God, that's right at the top of the back, isn't it?
Yeah, right. So you've got the auditorium, you've got the circle, which is the bit in the cinema where you would throw things at the people sitting below you. Yeah, you've got the third level, it's the Gods. And I swear to fuck, I was way too close to the ceiling. Way too close to the ceiling. And you're looking down, and it's looking like a very sheer drop. It's getting the. I remember sitting in the Gods whenever I was a youngster, a young whippersnapper, and I thought it was brilliant. And I was sitting up there last night looking down, thinking, "Fuck, this is a bit high." But other than that, we had a really nice evening. The Opera House itself it's absolutely gorgeous. The architecture is great. It's Victorian Opera House, and you just couldn't beat it. So we had a really good night, and that's something that we've been doing lately. We've been going to live shows, and really enjoyed that. So there's that. Where was I? I think we'll start with Aquaman before we get into all of the madness around the saints and shit. Have you seen any of the Aquaman trial, Mr. Pakka?
You mean Afro Man?
Afro Man, yeah.
Not Aquaman. I don't think he's done anything. But no, I haven't. I'm aware of it. But I see him turn up, and I just thought to myself, yeah, that'll be hilarious.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't know.
I'm going to look up a little bit of a clip on civil law. Yeah. All right. Yep. That would be exactly at the point where I'm at. Oh, fuck. One second. We'll get through this. Right. Nah. This is, I'm going to show this. This is from the Afro Man trial. And this is one of the cops that's going to get, they cut the long story short. The cops arrived. They did a search in his house. They broke a load of stuff. They seized a bunch of cash. I think it was $4,400 that they seized in cash. And whenever the cash made its way back, there was 400. Oh, fuck. That's cool. That is cool. Because see, from what I've seen lately, if Afro Man was coming to where I live, I would definitely be going to that concert because this has just got too fucking funny. So they stole this money. Charlie Rose, welcome aboard. Thank you. Thanks for coming along and hope you enjoy. So they had counted out the money. They put the amount of money on the evidence bag, and then when the evidence bag came back, it was $400 short on what it had been logged at. And they did an investigation, and the investigation found that, big surprise, the cop counted the money wrong the first time, and none of it had gone missing. So one of the cops who was given evidence in this is called Lisa. And I'm going to now show you a little bit of her giving evidence. Let me know when you think anything's wrong.
Does she have like a bodyguard or what the fuck is this? Who's this guy?
Do you solemnly swear the
That's the clerk? Or the bailiff, I guess? All right.
testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but?
Now, if you're thinking that she looks a little large and masculine, wait till you hear her voice.
Not the truth. As this, you shall answer unto God.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You be seated.
Go ahead, Mr. Burnley.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
Lisa Phillips,
And Lisa, where do you live?
Adams County.
How long have you lived in Adams County?
At least 24 years or so.
How do I ask this question without being insensitive?
You say if she's
Was
got an
Lisa
apple,
Phillips
she's got a
born a girl?
banana.
I never quite knew what King Missile was trying to say when they sung their song Detachable Penis, but as I feel like my dick is about to fall off by watching this woman, I'm feeling like I start to understand the troubles of that author.
Yep. Right. So, Mr. Pakka, have we got a grip of what this woman's actually like? Have we seen enough to move on to the video?
Go on then, yeah.
Yeah, right. Now, so then we will go to OG Afroman. And he created a music video about this woman. And then that was played in court. Right. Where is OG Afroman? That's a lemon pancake. All right. Bear in mind, this was played in court. It's the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life, particularly in a court setting. Yeah, get that in the theater mode.
You said, do you love me? Love me, girl. Yeah. You said, do you love me? I want them all. Oh, Lisa, Lisa, Lisa. Do you love me? Lick 'em, Lisa. Came to town. She ate all the pussy all around. From Adams County to the 275. Lick 'em low, Lisa. Licking every pussy alive. Lick 'em low, Lisa. Lick 'em low, Lisa. Pussy like pizza. Sometimes she won't. Lick 'em low, Lisa. Lick 'em low, Lisa. Pussy like pizza. Man or a woman, you really don't know her. I notice her voice is a few octaves lower. She's not too ugly. She's not too fine, but she's not too fine. Might whip out something that's bigger than mine. Lick 'em low, Lisa. Lick 'em low, Lisa. Pussy like.
Hey, that's enough danger to my channel. Well, holy
What's that video? Why did we stop that?
because it's pornography. I know that I'm reporting on a
No, I've never seen any.
yeah, well, I know I'm recording on a court case at the minute, right? But holy fuck, this is why you don't go and sue people that take the pisses professionally. Yeah, Brad's what about the chum? Yeah, so that's one of the I think a little bit of the kinks is a tad more suitable or subtle, yeah. Yeah, so this is what happened with the Afroman trial. By the way, he got found not guilty of defamation because you are allowed to criticize police officers, and they got they got nothing off him. And his defense for all of this is, you stole some of my money, you broke a lot of my property, I'm trying to recoup the money, and so what I'm doing is making these music videos and t-shirts.
Fair enough. You can't knock the bloke, can you? I mean, you know.
Yeah. So there's that. It's absolutely mad. I did quite enjoy that trial. It's the funniest one I've watched so far. Although I didn't get to watch all of it, I watched most of it. Yeah, it was quite good. So there's that. That's what's going on in the world today. Now, to move on to something a little bit more serious. We recently had a bit of a worldwide celebration of a boy called Patrick. And a lot of people are under the impression that he's a saint. Now, the fact of the matter is, in order to become a saint, the Roman Catholic Church needs to put your dead body or soul through a process called canonization, and then they list you as a saint and you become a saint. That was never done for Patrick, for whatever reason. So he's not actually a saint, but will have the party and the celebration. So that's the first problem. The second problem is, it's a bit of a spoiler alert, Pakka does know this because we were talking off stream, but do you know what the difference is between a saint and any other Christian?
Good morning. Okay, so as you know,
Mr. Pakka?
Oh, you're sorry. You waiting for me to tell the answer.
Yeah.
You know, I know. Yeah, sorry. A saint doesn't go to purgatory.
Right, a saint doesn't go to purgatory. They're dead. No. Yeah. Well, there is that. Yes, they're dead. Now, later on we might touch on the Jehovah's Witnesses who believe that anybody born in 1914 is never going to go through the whole fucking death process because we're going to be raptured before that, which is another form of Christianity. But there you go. Yeah, good works. What they reckon is that people at the Vatican decide to canonize, and they generally don't do it until a few years after the person's dead anyway, so it makes no difference. But they reckon that these people have done so many good works, they not only have enough to sail through the purgatory process and straight into heaven with a cursory rubber stamp from God, where he sort of looks at it and goes, yeah, you've done too many good works, you're straight into heaven. Now, if you're a Protestant, you believe that every Christian, every Protestant is at the same level as a saint, because we don't deal with that purgatory shit. We just go straight to the judgment, which doesn't leave any good deeds on a shelf. You're going to be judged incomplete. But because the Vatican have this process with the saints and whatnot, somewhere in the Vatican, they have got a room full of excess good deeds that were not needed from the saints to get through purgatory. What do you reckon to do with them?
I've no idea. Do they store them in a big warehouse like Area 57 in crates? I don't know.
Well,
Do they sell them?
They sell them.
God damn.
That's exactly what they
like
do.
the Catholic Church, isn't it?
Yep.
You can
Right.
sell them.
Yes, they sell them. And if you buy those, if you buy those access good deeds for the right amount of money, then you too can miss purgatory. And all it costs you is the price that you're paying. In fact, I've got a music video that and this all goes into the Reformation, because why do we have the Reformation, Pakka?
Sorry?
Why do we have the Reformation? And
Why?
also in the chat, yeah, why? Why do we have the
don't-
Reformation?
I don't know why.
Well, I'm going to give you a rap music video that explains that. Yep, there we go. Because why not at least make this a little bit funny. And also, everybody in the chat, put a 2 or something in every time you hear a cultural reference in this song that you have no fucking understanding of what it's about. No, that's not the one. This is what I want you to add to the stage. Right.
If you having church problems, then don't blame God, son. I got 95 theses, but the Pope ain't one. Listen up, all my people, it's a storm for the town. About the sin and injustice and corruption I've been smelling. I met that holy kettle, then I started rebelling. Once I seen the fat indulgences that he been selling. Now the Catholics of the world straight up disgracing me. Just because I wear my finger at the papacy. My people got run up over this reformation. That's when Leo threatened me with excommunication. I warn y'all that Rome best agree to the terms. If not, then you can eat my diet of worms. You think you're gonna do something spectacular? I put the whole Bible in the vernacular. Heretic, what? Someone throw me a bone. You forgot salvation comes through faith alone. I'm on a mission from God. You think I do this for fun? I got 95 theses, but the Pope ain't one. Say me. 95 theses, but the Pope ain't one. If you having church problems, then don't blame God, son. I got 95 theses, but the Pope ain't one. 1517 when it first went down. Then the real test is when it started spreading around. 60 days to recant what I said. Father, please, you've had what going on 15 centuries? Oh snap, he's messing with the Holy Communion. But I ain't never dissed your precious hypostatic union. Run, please, if I'm time. Well, thank you, Swingly. Yeah, way to disregard that whole I'm God thing. Getting all of my rosary, you little punk. Your mama should have told you not to mess with no mom. What you over before? Suddenly you sore? Keep that up. You'll have yourself another best score. You blame Tom and Cole for the smack me talk. You ain't never even taught the proper Christian doctor. With my hat, my Bible, and my sexy little nun. I got 95 pieces, but the Pope ain't one. Save me. 95 theses, but the Pope ain't one. If you have church problems, then don't blame God, son. I got 95 theses, but the Pope ain't one. When I woke up 95, painted straight up Salem. Now they only care whether or not I nailed them or made them. They got psychoanalytic. Now everyone's a critic. And getting on my cases because I'm anti-Semitic. I come down from obscurity to teach y'all a lesson. Cause someone here still ain't read the Augsburg Confession. I said Catholicism brings a life of excess. And we all remember what went down with Philip the Hess. You forgot about me and my religious demonstration. Like you could just go create your own denomination. We don't like this point, so we'll just add a little twist. Now we Anglican, Amish, and even Calvinist. I gave you the power, you brought it, abused it. I gave you God's truth, you just confused it. Don't you never underestimate the shit that I done. I got 95 pieces, but the Pope ain't one. Say me. 95 theses, but the Pope ain't one. If you having church problems, then don't blame God, son. I got 95 theses, but the Pope ain't one. Shout out to Johann Gutenberg. I see you, baby.
Now, the guy that he gave a shout out to at the end. Yeah, it is a bit hard. It's easier if you've got the lyrics. 1 second, I find this fucking. Yeah, you could stop, please. Thank you. Right, and you could stop, please. Right, so basically, Pakka, you've seen St. Peter's Basilica, the big, massive Vatican building.
Yes.
Right. Well, see, whenever before the Reformation, that wasn't like that. That was quite a small building, and the Pope wanted a shitload of money to create that St. Peter's Basilica, to make something that would last for eternity, that would be a massive, magnificent structure for the Roman Catholic Church. Exactly. Then the Hunters on it. He did it to fund the cathedral buildings. And so that's what he wanted to do. He wanted the money to make St. Peter's Basilica. And there was a guy called Tezel, who was an archbishop. He had borrowed money to buy the job of being an archbishop. And obviously he needed to pay that money back. And how he intended to get the money back was to sell indulgences, which is where you go out to the people and you sell them this printed bit of paper that says that it's a long form contract with a gap for the name of the person that's going to be getting the relief and the name of the person that's paying for it, and it guarantees direct entrance to heaven. And he got in touch, Tezel got in touch with the Pope and said, I would like to do this. And the Pope said, I tell you what, I'm a bit skint at the money at the minute too. So work your way and we'll split the money. And that's where the sale of indulgences went massive. And the other problem with that is that, and so what Martin Luther did was he produced 95 theses of why these indulgences were wrong, and he went through where they do not fit in biblical structure or teaching. And also the certificates that they were selling went above and beyond that which the Pope could grant, because it was saying automatic grant, there would be automatically granted entrance to heaven, whereas it was supposed to be skip through purgatory and go through the judging process. So he wrote these theses down and he went and nailed them onto the door of a church. Now, back whenever that happened, this is how theological debates worked. So you would go put your ideas and nail them on the wall. It's like being on a Facebook post, and you're inviting other people to come and give you a debate about it. And he'd done this many times before on many other subjects, and all he ended up with was debates. But whenever he brought it up, whenever he did this one, something different happened. In that, the whole Catholic Church went up in arms. Yeah, Dad of Worms. It is an unfortunate translation. They brought him to a thing called the Dad of Worms, which is with a dad is like an inquisition. Oh yeah, it is pure fraud, total and utter fraud. There, and also it's a way of holding people's souls to ransom to make their family and friends pay to get them out of purgatory. You know, for this person's already dead. Because let's not let death get in the way of you paying your fucking dues into the church. So
let's hope Keir Starmer's not watching this.
Well, see, this also comes into, and because he had poked that, they then went after him for anything that he said and called it heresy. You've spoke the wrong thing. You've got the wrong opinion. And then after a fair trial. The Pope decided that I'm not going to execute you, but if anyone wants to murder you, there will be no charges. He allowed the lynch mob to go and do what they want, although he didn't actually get lynched. So that's how that all went down. And there's a recurring theme throughout heresy. Yeah. It does not help with my dyslexia. Sorry. Kier's not listening. He's too busy with his rant, boys. And this is how this whole system worked, whereby if you say anything that goes against our orthodoxy, like if you, I don't know, say something like the world's temperature is not controlled by carbon dioxide and the big ball of fire in the sky has got something to do with the heat, and that's why the carbon dioxide fucks off at night. That's a heresy, and then they'll go after you on that. And if you've got any sort of authority, we'll go back and look through everything you've said, and we'll find something that you said that we disagree with, and then we will overly elevate the punishment for that. And if you have said something that we agree with while actually committing a crime, we will just ignore that because you're on our side. And it basically leads to, oh, no, there's more to it than this. This gets dark. This gets dark. So the other thing that saints were used for was you could then dig up a body and put some of their bones in one chapel, some of their bones in another chapel, some of their bones in another chapel, and make it a requirement for people to do a what's it called whenever you go on a religious whenever you go on a religious quest, not a crusade, but you had to go and visit these, and whenever you're at the places, you had to then also pay some money to each of those churches. So the whole saints thing is a money-making scam. Yeah, pilgrimage. Yeah, yes.
Last one, Dawn.
Yeah, Dawn in from down under. So most of all of this creating saints is to do with either creating money, or the other thing that they could do is if you get the church of a country to recognize a certain saint's day as a feast day, then people don't have to work on that day. The landed gentry who believe the same religion as you, they're not allowed to work, and therefore they're not allowed to make you work. So it gets a bit of friendliness with the locals because they've got these people a day off work and potentially a day where the Lord of the Manor is going to have to come down and give them some sort of food or whatever for this deity. Now, whenever we get into Patrick himself, Patrick is famous for chasing the snakes out of Ireland. And do you know what is meant by that?
There were no snakes. It's not literal, is it?
No, it's an analogy for removing the pagan religion from Ireland.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, that devil worshipping pagan religion.
Right, yes. Nah. Oh, fuck. the Indian Families Association had a fucking float on in the St. Patrick's Day parade somewhere in Ireland, and they asked everybody to turn up in Indian traditional fucking dress. That's how serious the Irish are taking it. But the removal in part or in whole of any religious teaching, we have a term for that. It's called a genocide. Yep, the Wiccans. So St. Patrick is celebrated all around the world for being the saint that genocided the pagans. The Irish were the only people dumb enough to put their hand up and say, yeah, we'll accept that challenge. We're happy with that, and everybody can get pissed on that day. And the other thing is, what do the Irish continually tell us about their existence and who wronged them? There's nothing bad. There's nothing bad happening in Ireland you can't blame an Englishman for, right? Where did Patrick come from?
Was he English?
Or Scottish or Welsh? The jury is out.
Good.
He's from somewhere along there. However, I really doubt he was Scottish, and I really doubt he was Welsh, because he came from a Roman British Christian family. Which makes me think that he was probably in England. Yep, Roman Britain. And how did he get there?
You asking me?
Yeah. How did he get from? Well, how did he get from England to Ireland?
Boat.
He was fucking stolen.
Oh, was he?
Yes, as a slave by the Irish.
They're not looking good on this, are they?
Right.
They're not coming out this shiny, are they?
And some people say along with hundreds of others, and some people say along with thousands of others. Because it was a thing where the Irish were stealing people from England as slaves. And it's even in the normal story. Yeah, when he was 16.
Is there any reparations in this, do you reckon?
There fucking should be.
Yeah.
And this is how convoluted the story of Patrick, the saint that a whole bunch of English people all had a day getting pissed and drinking Guinness for. And by the way, Arthur Guinness, he bought rifles for the Ulster Volunteer Force. Mr. Guinness was a very, very proud British Protestant and a Unionist. And, for all these people thinking, well, fuck, I've lost Guinness, that's bad, but at least I've still got Jameson. And you go, yes, that Ulster's got Unionist. Yeah, it turns out that anything that ever got made in this country that was anyway any decent was done by British people.
You find that in a lot of places, though, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, there's the wonderful, sexy Emma G in. Emma G, tell everybody how close to the fucking ceiling we were watching. Miss Saigon last night. It was a very good show. You also took out a 9,000-year lease in Guinness. Yep. Yeah, I would doubt that one. I would really, really doubt that. The amount of fucking British people the O'Neills murdered. We had quite the fight with the O'Neills. Quite the fight. And anybody that the English Civil War started in 1642 and 1641. O'Neill was dragging people, or O'Neill's men were dragging people, British people, out of their houses and marching them into rivers and locks and murdering them. Yeah, I'm not getting the pro-British O'Neill. You know, yeah, it's scary. The only O'Neill I can get, I'll tell you what, that fucker Martin O'Neill is no better. That was born in Northern Ireland and quite happily managed the Republic of Ireland and Celtic and all that shit. Yeah, so I'm trying to think how I can sum up what I've said so far. So Patrick, not a saint, stolen from England, for part of the slave trade, and the main use of saints is to make money for the Catholic Church, and the religion is one of control, whereby say what we say or else we will basically kill you. Yeah, probably nice pubs. Yeah, one thing we do right across Ireland well is pubs. I will say that our pubs are good. They're getting too fucking expensive, is the one thing I would say about that. But there you go. Now, where was I going to go with all this? Where was I going to go? Fuck, I think I need a musical interlude to, we're on 47 minutes. We need a non-connected musical interlude while I rethink and try to figure out where the fuck we are. Pakka, has any of this made sense?
Oh, absolutely. Some of it has, probably.
Some of it has. Right. What has not made sense?
No, I'm all good so far. He's not a saint. He was never a saint. He was robbed into slavery.
Yeah.
He owes him nothing.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, and finished his house, which is surprisingly good news.
Yeah. And here's the I'm a G. I replied.
She did. She said she was so near the ceiling she could see the brushstrokes in the paintwork.
Yeah. Yeah. Emma was loving it. Emma was actually loving being that close to the paintings and the ceiling and the gilt elephant and whatnot. That was on the post right sort of beside us. And I was sort of looking about going, we're a bit fucking high here. And not even the good high. Yeah. The other thing that I was going to, yeah, and the other thing I wanted to have a think about is in England, the biggest. Am I too close to the edge? Yes. Yes, Emma was loving it. Here's another thing. Emma and I were down in County Londonderry, and we were walking along beside cliffs, and there was two paths, and one was about 5 yards away from the edge, and the other one was about 15 yards away from the edge, and I was naturally guiding Emma onto the one that was further away from the edge, and she was like, no, I'm going down this one, and trying to drag me with her, and I'm like, she just knows how to do it. She just pushes the buttons. Yeah, so whenever we think about the cultural events that the English people take part on en masse, I would say that the largest one would be Christmas. Okay? And I'm thinking Christmas is a Christian celebration, and it's pretty much the same the world over. I'm not seeing anything uniquely English to it. Correct? Yeah?
Correct? True so far?
Yeah. I think the second largest event that they take part in is probably St. Patrick's Day for public participation.
Right.
I think the third is probably that German drinking one.
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest. You again in the chat, let me know. Am I way off course here? And my issue with that is where the fuck's the England?
I'm not saying this is it, but there is Pancake Day. I mean, they're pretty much to a man, woman, and child. We do Pancake Day, do we not?
Right, yes, you're correct. Pancake Day.
I'm carnivore, and even I will, maybe have pancake on Pancake Day.
Yes, Pancake Day, which again is another Christian tradition that goes quite worldwide. I do know that there is, because I've looked at this and whatnot, there is a town in England where they have an official Pancake Day race, and you have to be a married woman. You have to be from that town to be allowed to run in that race. And that bit, I would say so. And yes, Halloween, again, nothing really English about it. And as much as the Irish would like to tell you that they invented Halloween, I'm sorry, but just didn't.
Didn't you do a thing on the lanterns and the women carving the lanterns and the lost men?
Yes, the Halloween, the Halloween thing, that is actually English. The lanterns, the jack-o'-lanterns, well, it happened in Ireland too. It happened right across Britain. I'm not sure where else it went, but the idea between Halloween is, one second, I need to cough. So Halloween, Punky Night. Halloween is a night whenever the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead is at its thinnest. And there's a possibility that the dead could come through the curtain and say hello to you. Now, the problem with that is if you're sitting in your house and your ancestor pops in to say hello, it would quite likely scare the shit out of you. And you would not keep that expression off your face. And that would embarrass your ancestor. So to avoid that embarrassment, we'll come up with a really great idea. Everybody puts on a disguise and walks the streets, so is there somewhere that's not their own house. And they're going to do this all night. And they're going to do it individually. And then some men will meet up with some women individually. And because they're all in disguise and totally didn't leave the same fucking house with their disguise on, they can be mistaken that they've actually found their husband or wife. And then bugger off in the woods or the countryside or whatever it is, to pass through this difficult evening and have lots of sex, and then go back to their house. And if you've ended up fucking the wrong person, well, that was just a mistake. And nobody's going to say anything about it. I mean, that's what I've just said. And that's what the Halloween tradition is, the original one. Yep, lots of sex. You'll find that most of our it's not so much a Stanley Kubrick film. What you need to understand is the other thing that would happen is some of these groups of men would go out into the wilderness and in the mist and whatnot get lost and they end up in the wrong town. So you've got the men from town A in Town B, the men from Town B in Town A. The women have all stayed in their own town. And that way, whenever you have a lot of children after this event, you've got new genes going into the village. Because we have a problem with inbreeding, and if you take a good person's being half salt and half pepper, but if you've got a village that's been insular and not had outside influence for 4 generations, there ain't going to be any more salt or any more pepper. It's all going to be pretty much the same. And then you have birth defects and shit. But this influx of new chromosomes, new sperm, new blood types and whatnot keeps the diversity. And this was one way of doing it without large-scale social repercussions.
It's a civilized way of doing it.
Yeah, it's a civilized way of doing it. Anglo makes a good point. Well, our pagans didn't really get converted at the point of a sword as much as the Islamists do. Take a guess which sex it was decided that this new Christian ideas was brilliant. Because it weren't the fucking men folk. So what happened was the preachers would go out and would preach to the women. And they would tell the women that whenever you convert to this religion, he has to honor and obey you. And then they decided they wanted to be Christian. And then the men wanted their whole, so they decided they were going to be Christian too. So that's how a lot of the transformation from paganism to Christianity occurred. Now, was there some people forced at the point of a blade? Yes. Was there a lot of people forced at the point of their eternal soul? Yes. And the other really interesting thing is that a lot of the Vikings... Pardon?
Sorry, that was Mrs. Pakka.
Yeah, what'd you say?
She said they're teaming. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Just talk about some...
All right, yes, not connect. I thought she'd put in an interjection, but no, right. So the other thing that happened with a lot of the Vikings was they had went to war against Christians with the backing of their gods and took this opinion that, fuck me, our gods were behind us and their gods were behind them and they won, so their gods must be stronger than ours. So we're going to cross over to that Christianity. And also the conversion from paganism to Christianity wasn't something that happened overnight. And a lot of them sort of had dual religions where they would publicly be Christian, but in their own house do their pagan stuff. And it's a lot more convoluted and a lot more nuanced to saying that we suddenly stopped being pagans and started being Christians. Right. You think there's another religion? Should look at this. Yep. Sorry, I'm checking through the chat. I'm breathing like Norfolk. Yep. Exactly. That's what the outcome is. We're trying to avoid having sex with our cousins. Nothing good comes of that. The first thing that happens is the forehead gets a bit long. Second thing that happens is the teeth get a bit bucked, twisted and whatnot, and the IQ drops to below 70. So we try to avoid that. And things like May Day and Halloween were a way of bringing in different blood groups. And with that, I'm going to find a musical interlude. I think we will do Oh My Way. Yeah. Now, if we could just get past these advertisements. These are starting to do my fucking head in again. Because they are getting longer. That's the other thing. The adverts on YouTube have definitely got longer. And the algorithm has definitely got shitter. But there you go. Right. Here we go. We'll get this shared now. Stop that screen. Presenter, right. Share screen. Share screen. Oh, Maui.
Oh, fuck.
Down to old Maui, me boys rolling down to old. 'Tis a damn time.
Yeah. 'Tis that awkward moment where you've been listening to the song and then suddenly realize you never shared it to the fucking screen. Oh, right, here we go. Oh, Maui.
'Tis a damn tough life full of toil and strife we whalermen undergo. And we don't give a damn when the day is done how hard the winds did blow. 'Cause we're homeward bound from the Arctic around with a good ship taut and free. And we don't give a damn when we drink our rum with the girls of old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail with a northerly gale towards our island home. Our mainmast sprung, our whaling done, and we ain't got far to roam. 6 hellish months we passed away on the cold Kamchatka Sea. But now we're bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Once more we sail with a northerly gale to the ice and wind and rain. Them coconut fronds, them tropical lands we soon shall see again. Our Stunsel's bones is carried away, what care we for that sound? A living gale is after us, thank God we're homeward bound. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. How soft the breeze through the island trees, now the ice is far astern. Them native maids, them tropical glades is awaiting our return. Even now their big brown eyes look out, hoping some fine day to see our baggy sails running for the gales, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys rolling down to old Maui. We're homeward bound from the Arctic around, rolling down to old Maui. Rolling down to old Maui, me boys rolling anchor out, rolling down to old Maui.
Right. I want to address what Amanda has said. I have to be honest, I started going to church to prevent it turning into a mosque. But I have really changed my view and I'm now a proper Christian. See, that is 100% the right thing to be doing. I hear a lot of people complaining that our churches are becoming mosques. Amanda Lee is fucking doing the right thing. Because what you need to realize is every individual church is basically a small business. And the congregation turn up on a Sunday morning and Sunday evening. They give a donation into the church. And from that donation, they pay the minister, they pay the curate, and they pay for the upkeep of the building. Now, at the point where there's not enough money going into that individual church, that's where the governing body of that church have to make a decision about either bailing it out or letting it go. And if they have to bail it out every month for more than 6 months, that church is a financial liability that they either need to cut the anchor on or risk the whole governing body being pulled into receivership. So they cut and let go. The way to stop your churches becoming mosques is to fucking go and sit in them on a Sunday morning and make them functional. It really is that simple. And Amanda Lee is 100% on the right tracks with doing that. And that's one of the things that we as British people can do. And I will go further than that and say, if you've got a local church that has 30 regular members, 30 regular turner-uppers on a Sunday morning, if that's sitting at 30, if you could get 60 people, oh yeah, well, I have major problems with the Anglican Church and its current iteration, and the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Archbishop of York, and how woke the fucking thing has got. But if every church in England we got that had 30 people in it, if we could find 60 people to go in and pay their dues regularly on a Sunday morning, they would become the bulk of the congregation. And when they're doing that for a while, they could say, see that church hall you've got sitting there doing nothing? You may get it opened up during the day because we're putting a mothers and toddlers group into it. And they'll go, well, we can't really afford to heat it during the day. And you go, well, here, hold on. There's 60 of us and we're putting in £3 a week. So there's there's a lot of money. There's more than enough money to heat that 2 mornings a week that we do our mothers and toddlers group, and then start to use the church as what it was made for, to be the hub of your community. And then whenever the kids from the mothers and toddler group age start going to school, you get other parents in to run the mother and toddler group. Those kids that are now at school age, they then start to arrive at 8 o'clock in the morning, give the kids toast, juice, sing a couple of hymns, sing a couple of choruses, draw little pictures of George slaying the dragon or castles with George crosses on them, and stick them on the walls as part of the mother and toddler group. For the mother and toddler group, and then those bunch of kids all go a walking bus to the school, and then the two people that took them to the school pick them up again at 3 o'clock and walk them back to the church. And then the people in that local area no longer need to pay childcare to go to work. But in order to do that, you need to first take over the local church and make it into a resource for the community. And the biggest problem that I think English people have with doing that is they've never seen it function. Really hard to recreate something that you've never seen. It's almost like it's like if you got a machine from it's like a World War II aircraft, and you've got one there, but it doesn't work, and you're trying to fix it, but you don't have a blueprint to go by. The blueprint's lost. You've only got what you can see, and there's parts of it missing, and you don't know what goes in there or how it works together. One second. Don't pay my cause. 42. Get the kids to draw Old Testament stuff, the 10 plagues and that. Yeah, no. What we're going to do is we're going to get the kids to draw English stuff, because that way, see, whenever the woke parents arrive with their kids, they'll go out again. It only needs to be just a little bit English for the woke people to go away. I'll tell you something else that you genuinely have a problem with in England. Your housing areas are much too welcoming to leftists, because every leftist that lives in your area is counteracting your vote. And it's going to be very hard to win an election without a secure electoral mandate. And there are ways that you can do this without being rude, without being ignorant. Just make things look a little bit English, and the woke people will choose to live elsewhere. No idea, mate. I have no idea. I've no idea. I don't know whether most people here were Protestant or Catholic, unless they've said something that sort of identifies them. Although I can sniff out Catholicism quite well. Well, I can sniff out Roman Catholicism quite well. By the way, 42 is a Catholic, a Protestant Catholic. I'm Anglican. I'm a Protestant Catholic, which means I'm a Catholic, but I protest with a lot of the things that the Catholic Church do. Most notably, their persecution of others. Now, yeah, well, I'm Church of Ireland, which is the same thing. My current problem is that the Church of England is becoming increasingly woke, and then we get... Yeah, I would class myself as that as well. Pakka, have you any idea who the Oxford Martyrs are?
No, I didn't even know there were such things. People.
Right. Okay. I'm going to read a little bit about the Oxford Martyrs, because this also goes to part of this.
Was it an episode of Morse?
No.
Okay, no idea then.
Right. Let's add this to the screen. Add this to the stage. The Oxford Martyrs. Set in the pavement in front of Billock College on Bournemouth Street, Oxford, is a cross made of different coloured cobblestones. The Martyrs' Cross marks the traditional place where three Protestant bishops, Nicholas Ridley, Hugh Latimer, and Thomas Cromer, were burnt at the stake under Queen Mary for refusing to renounce their Protestant faith. The Tudor period was an era of religious turmoil prompted by Henry VIII's break from the Catholic Church. Henry's son Edward I continued his father's Protestant policies, but when Edward died in 1553, his half-sister Mary came to
Your mic's gone again. 42. Hello? Your mic's gone. Hello? Hello?
Hello, I'm back.
There he is.
Yep. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yep. It has gone again. Right. Let's see. Tudor period was an era of religious turmoil prompted by Henry. So, King Henry broke from the Catholic Church, would sort of talk down the loud about the reasons why. Then Queen Mary was a staunch Catholic. During her short and bloody reign, large numbers of high-profile Protestants were put to death for refusing to renounce their beliefs. Three of the most prominent Protestant leaders were Hugh Latimer, Bishop of Worcester, Nicholas Ridley, Archbishop of London, and Thomas Cromer, Archbishop of Canterbury. Hugh Latimer was born around 1487 in the farming village of Thorncaston, Leicestershire. The exact date is unknown, but is estimated to be any time between 1480 and 1494. He was educated at Clare College, University of Cambridge, and ordained as a priest in 1515. He served as a university chaplain and preacher and became one of a dozen priests licensed by Cambridge University to preach anywhere in England. He continued his studies until 1524, when he received a Bachelor of Divinity degree. Latimer was initially violently opposed to Protestantism, but after hearing the confessions of Thomas Bentley, he accepted the reforming philosophy and began to preach in favour of English translations of the Bible. Now, prior to the Reformation, we didn't have a Bible in English. Henry VIII decided that we would have that and began putting English language Bibles into every church. Because in the Catholic belief at that time, I'm not sure how much it has changed, Catholics were not allowed to read the Bible. That was the job of a priest. He quickly became influenced by the radical writings of Martin Luther. That's the guy who was nailing the thing to the door earlier, and was called before Archbishop Wolsey to defend himself from accusations of Protestantism. He satisfied Wolsey, but his freedom of movement was curtailed. When Wolsey died and replaced by Thomas Cromer as Archbishop of Canterbury, Latimer was unleashed. Latimer continued to preach in favour of religious reform, and in 1535 he was named Bishop of Worcester. He openly opposed the Catholic doctrines of purgatory, the idea that you can keep souls for money, and the Mass. But when he criticised the 6 Articles of 1539, he was removed as the Bishop of Worcester and thrown in prison. He was released, served time as personal chaplain of Catherine Bernardon, Duchess of Suffolk, but found himself back in the Tower of London by 1546. When Edward VI took the throne, Latimer was freed from the Tower of London to resume his ministry. When Mary took the throne, however, it was only a matter of time before Latimer's Protestant preachings caught up with him. I'm going to skip a bunch of this. Right. Cromer is a reformer. Right, the bishops on trial. On the 8th of March 1554, the Privy Council ordered Ridley, Latimer and Cromer to be taken to the Barcodo prison in Oxford to await trial for heresy. The bishops were kept in prison for 17 months before the trials began. The city of Oxford bore the cost of keeping the bishops. The cost of supplying the faggots used to burn Archbishop Cromer were charged to his expenses accounts, in which which the city tried unsuccessfully to claim back from the Archbishop of Canterbury. So it tried to make them pay for their own burning. Cranmer was tried first, while Ridley and Latimer were tried together. In the case of Ridley and Latimer, the verdicts were very quick, and they were sentenced to be burnt at the stake. The trials were held at the Church of St Mary and the Virgin in Oxford, where you can still see a note made on one of the nave columns where it was cut away to create a wooden platform. All three were found guilty because they refused to accept They refused to believe that the bread and wine used in communion became the blood and flesh of Jesus Christ. Because who the fuck believes that? And for that, they got murdered. And there's a picture of them being burnt at the stake. So, my question, Mr. Pakka, is
transubstantiation.
Transubstantiation, yeah, right. So that is whenever you go to confession, they give you a wafer and a drop of Ribena, and they say that in the Protestant faith that represents the flesh of Christ and the blood of Christ. In the Roman Catholic Church, whenever they say their words over it, it becomes the blood of Christ and the flesh of Christ. So it's fucking cannibalism.
It always seemed odd to me.
Yeah, well, the Protestant faith is it represents it. The Roman Catholic faith it is it, and because of that difference, these three men were burnt at the stake. Now, my question, Mr. Pakka, is which political system do you think that sounds more like? The people on the right or the people on the left?
What, the burning people at the stake?
The burning people at the stake for having a disagreement.
It's quite a lefty thing to do, isn't it?
Yes. It seems to all... I can't believe it's not Jesus. Yep. This is where I think these things all becoming important, because it's my opinion that the traits and behavioral traits follow on generation after generation. And what the English Civil War was about doing away with this persecution of your political enemies, about going after people that are your political enemies on a matter of religion or some other opinion, and then, I don't know, murdering them because of it. Yeah. That was from the Vicar of Dibley. Oh, fuck, I've issues with that thing as well, but that joke was definitely funny. You can't take away from that being funny. I think that this is problematic and that we have forgotten where this type of governance and these types of opinions come from. That we are witnessing a replay, albeit on different grounds than what we had back then. It's like you don't believe that carbon dioxide controls the temperature? No job for you. You don't believe that boys can be girls? No job for you. You don't believe any of our special interest stuff? Then no job for you. And if we can, we'll stick you in prison for it. And it also is affecting our justice system, because we have a woman who's currently on remand facing retrial for hitting a police officer with a sledgehammer in an attack on a business because that business potentially sold aircraft parts to Israel, who is also going to stand in the next fucking election while on remand. And that's all perfectly fine because she's got the right political opinions. We have the people in Bristol who tore down the statue. The videos there, everybody knows they tore down the statue. But the jury in the court case went, nah, we're going to just find them not guilty. And one of the other things that we fought the English Civil War was to put an end to jury stuffing. The process whereby you could just bring people into the jury with the right political opinions and ensure the outcome. And I think we're closer to the conditions that came directly before the English Civil War than anyone has realised. And a big part of the reason for that is people went out of their way to obfuscate the actual history from these people. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Because for a while I thought I was going fucking mad. And not only have a
might be, but that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing about it is, these people were doing this a couple of hundred years before Marx was born. What if the Marxists have not... What if the Marxists just copied a tactic that they seen that worked previously? And the other thing is, what if none of these people actually believe any of what they say? And I honestly don't think that they do. Because you can't be that changeable about your opinions. If you do believe what you say. Because if you spend 5 years saying gay marriage is bad, and suddenly decide, no, gay marriage is the way to go, we need more of it, what happened that your position changed? If you thought that a certain person was good, bad, or indifferent, how come suddenly they can go from being good to bad? What about J.K. Rowling? For quite a while, the left were in love with her. Then she piped up and said something about boys possibly needing to stay boys and girls needing to stay... No, actually didn't. She piped up about girls getting turned into boys. That's the only bit J.K. Rowling complained about, never about the boys turning into girls. But that was enough to get J.K. Rowling cancelled. But yet withal, she was fine before that. But she has hit a heresy. And then she gets totally polarized for it. And I think that those behaviors are ingrained not via Marxism, but generation on generation back to Bloody Mary and before. And this notion of using religion or climate change, which is now religion, or any of that leftism stuff, I don't think that that's new. And the other thing I see a problem with is a lot of the people are talking about... I hear an awful lot about people saying this is a Christian country with Christian values. And I'm not so sure that it is. Because, as we've already demonstrated tonight, not all Christians believe the same thing. Here's an example for you. Well, I'll get this link ready. Mr. Tommy Robinson. I hear him saying quite a lot about it being a Christian country. Where the fuck was that one? Yep. Here is the Tottenham Church, the main church. See the Christians that Tommy Robinson has on his stage singing at his concerts. Are you sure they're Christians? Because I looked up the church and let's see what the church is like. The good news. Our founder, Prophet Hubert Angel, had a powerful encounter with the Lord that transformed not only his message, but the man himself. He was called to preach at the same gospel of grace that Jesus himself preached during his earthly ministry. News that is nearly too good to be true. This message is the foundation of the Good News movement, which aims to empower believers to live victoriously in life. At Spirit Embassy, the Good News Church, we want to share the message with you, and we are confident that it will transform your life and empower you to live the life that God has called you to. We are a community of brand new believers and established, mature Christians, and we welcome anyone who is seeking to grow in their faith. Our church is big enough to accommodate you, yet small enough to recognize you. Now,
sorry, can we just take a moment to appreciate that jacket? Go down, scroll down.
Yeah.
Bit more. There you
Yeah.
go.
Nah. So this is the guy, this is the prophet that's behind the church that Tommy Robinson puts on the stage and says, we are a Christian country. I don't know whether Tommy has checked out his own people or whether it was a case of, I've found one, that'll do. But, hold on. I have too many links. I have too many fucking documents with links on them at the moment. Yeah. So, here we go. Let's have a look at the man himself. And by the way, he's being promoted as being a Christian. And part of what's going to fix our country by bringing back these Christian values. What is Prophet Hubert Angel's connection to world leaders? Prophet Hubert Angel, who the fuck calls himself Angel, has established connections with various world leaders, largely due to his role as a preacher, businessman, and diplomat. A prominent figure in both religious and diplomatic circles. He has developed relationships with influential figures across different sectors. He has developed relations with influential leaders across different sectors. Some key aspects or his connection with world leaders include a diplomatic role. In 2021, Prophet Hubert Angel was appointed as Zimbabwe's ambassador at large and special presidential envoy by President Emerson Mnangagwa. His role has allowed him to interact with political and business leaders globally, particularly in efforts to promote investment in Zimbabwe. As prophet to his last dispensation, Prophet Hubert Angel is the founder of Spirit Embassy, which is now known as Good News Church. His influence in the Christian community has brought him into contact with various political leaders, especially in Africa, the Caribbean, Europe, and beyond. philanthropy, and business. His philanthropic efforts and business ventures have opened doors for him to connect with leaders worldwide. He has been involved in charity work and international business investments, which have expanded his global network and includes connections with both African and Westminster leaders. Uber Angels has made special appearances and maintained relationships with leaders from countries like Nigeria, South Africa, the United Kingdom, and the United States. His diplomatic work has also involved meetings with senior officials and business tycoons, facilitating discussions about investments opportunities in Africa. Now, can you see my problem with this as a Christian country and any fucking Christian will do? The fact of the matter is this is not a Christian country. This is a Protestant country because Protestants believe things that are different from other Christians. For example, the Jehovah's Witnesses, who are Christians, believe that anyone born after 1914 will never die. They will be raptured up to heaven without the death process whenever Jesus returns momentarily. And they first said a date of 1921, I think, but then that didn't happen. They said, no, we got it slightly wrong. Then they said it was 1975, and nobody got whooshed up. And now we have a whole bunch of Jehovah's Witnesses who were taught by their church not to save for retirement, not to go into further education, because you're not going to be here for very long. You're never mind dying, you're not even going to ever retire. And again, these are Christians. And this is why I believe we need to make the distinction about whether this is a Christian country or whether this is a Protestant country, and whether we believe in the divine right to rule as kings, which means that the king can operate as a dictator, or that the king rules at the grace of God and must struggle with every individual decision. These are the questions and part of the framework for running our country that you should have been told before you left primary school, but that education and information was removed. And I think that's a big part of where all of our problems come from. Has anything I said sounded totally off the wall and crazy like I thought it did?
No more than usual. No, you sound fine.
Yeah, right. And this is where I think the problem is. And I think that we have a job of work to do with education to get anywhere. To be clear, my best guess is that Tommy Robinson was desperate for a Christian, any Christian. And that church seen an opportunity to get their paws on his followers and said, we'll do it. And I don't think Tommy did any research into what he got. But then I think Tommy's coming from an opinion of Christians are Christians. And the differences are not important. I think the king's got very shitty advisors and has had for a very long time is also a major problem. Don't forget, the job of the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Archbishop of York are to be the personal moral guides to the king or queen. That was always a job that would have went to someone who was very much of the people. However, sometimes, somewhere in the early 1800s, hold on one second. The problem is that a lot of people in Tommy's movement will be put off by preachers like that. Yeah, they will. But again, the other thing is, see, whenever I look at whenever I look at anything that Tommy Robinson has done lately, I see a socialist. I see a full-bore fucking socialist. Because it's organized in exactly the same way as a socialist organized something. We need Christians, they'll do. We need somebody from Northern Ireland, he'll do. We need somebody from Ireland, he'll do. We need somebody from Germany, he'll do. We need somebody from wherever, he'll do. We need all these boxes ticked, and we'll throw them on a fucking stage, regardless of what they actually are, where they're saying from. But we'll pull all these people together. And who fucking cares if we're runway over time and the only white males that there are there only get time to stand on the stage and grin because we've run out of time for them while we were making space for every other fucker. And that's how a socialist organizes an event. And that's where I think to get past the political rhetoric, which nobody's going to get wrong because they know exactly what they need to say. Whenever you look at their actions, I think he behaves like a socialist. And I think it's very hard to behave like a socialist if you're not one. We need to monitor activists whose accounts that had a mysterious $7,000 deposit in recent time. Yep. Oh, so I'll agree with you on that. I don't know who the fuck it is pays Tommy Robinson, but I do know that whoever it is, they reckon they're buying something. Oh, yeah, I did sense him saying that. That was funny as fuck. Pakka, did you see that? What,
Yes, his wife advertising for a pool boy. His pool boy's wife.
Yes.
Yeah, I love to see Piers struggle like that.
It was funny as fuck.
Still, never mind. Hey, Piers, we've got the recipes.
Yeah, this is exactly it. There was something else I wanted to talk about tonight. I'm not fucking. I've probably rambled a little bit too much. What was the other thing? The other point I wanted to hit? Can't remember. Right. Pakka, any thoughts from this evening's madness?
Only that the system's seems to be working exactly as it's meant to, as usual.
Oh, no. Well, here's the thing. Our whole system of how the government works and how elections work and all that, they are really fucking convoluted for a reason. It was supposed to be awkward. It was supposed to be complicated. And what the people who, we don't have founding fathers like we have in America, but the people who formed our constitutions and who put all this together, they put all their eggs in two baskets. And one was called English organization, and the other was called English work ethic. And they figured that nobody would work harder at this than the English, and nobody would have the organizational skills better than the English. But what they didn't allow for is that in the early 1800s, it started actually at the end of the 1700s, where we had a church revival. Born again Christians came along, and that's the original woke people chase the working class out of the churches. And then we had a whole bunch of people that began telling us that our celebrations were not inclusive enough. And we were persecuting the poor Catholics because Guy Fawkes Night looked very pro-British. And those people began to get positions of power. And as soon as they got in, the same thing that happened with football stadiums happened, where people went, yeah, fuck, I'm not going anywhere near that if that fucker's there. And then our forefathers left the institutions, and then the knowledge of how to work them didn't get handed down, but they did get handed down by the woke fuckers who took them over. Does that sound anywhere fair? What I'm going to play now, I'm going to play the Anglo-Saxon now. This is not the outro, people. Do not be run away. There will be more to come after this. But I'm going to play the Anglo-Saxon. And by the way, whenever I wrote this, I meant every fucking word. Here we go. We'll put this on the stage. Hello, you're listening to 42's letter to the Anglo-Saxons. When you spread this message, you are the resistance. The Anglo-Saxon. The Anglo-Saxon shook his head sharply, his hair dislodging droplets of sweat from the back of his neck, the produce of moving a carcass to the workbench. The sharpened blades and cleavers felt natural in his hand. The carcass divided to his will. The Anglo-Saxon's muscle memory was that of a warrior. His body was lost to the toil, but his mind wandered to memories that were not his own. An intruder startled the Anglo-Saxon. However, before him was not the meadows and glades of his ancestors, but a butcher's shop window. While politely serving the customer, the Anglo-Saxon mourned the loss of a kingdom he had never known, of the rituals and customs that were lost long before his grandparents were even born. Outside, the street was a bustle. He knew there were others like him, ones who carried the warrior's pride. Amongst them he would find the rightful place of an Anglo-Saxon. The Anglo-Saxon.
It was not preached to the crowd, it was not taught by the state. No man spoke it aloud when the Anglo-Saxons began to hate. It was not suddenly bred, it will not swiftly abate. Through the chill years ahead, when the time shall count from the date that the Anglo-Saxons began to hate. When time shall count from the date the Anglo-Saxons began to hate.
Game over.
I'm going to take it back to about here. The meadows and glades of his ancestors, but a butcher's shop window. While politely serving the customer, the Anglo-Saxon mourned the loss of a kingdom he had never known, of the rituals and customs that were lost long before his grandparents were even born. That bit, I believe, is the most important thing of this whole thing. And I put it in there in this one. I will end up going back to that, but the great sadness and the hole in the heart of English people that's currently being filled with fucking St. Patrick's Day, with beer, with wine, with drugs, with as much sex as you can get your hands on, all that instant gratification. I think that is a direct result of having your customs and traditions ripped away from you. And it's like mourning a child. It's like mourning a stillborn child, because you never actually got to experience it or see it or hold it or be part of it. And it's fucking sick and it's fucking wrong. I'm disgusted by what's happened. And that be why I do what I do. And I don't think this can be understated how much of a problem that is. And it's no fault of any Englishman alive now, because this damage was done before your grandparents were born. That's how far back it goes. I don't know how we put it back, but I know that there's no way forward without beginning to put it back. And whenever we win, and we will win, I have no doubt about that, it's not going to be because one person achieved one thing. It's going to be thousands of seemingly independent actions that the people have done collectively, individually. In the same way that we do Christmas in our own house, with our own friends and family. And that's where that's where the change is going to be. That's how I believe we move forward. And I also say that because we do it individually, it can't be stopped. The only way I can stop it is to come and rap on every fucker's door, and they do not have the resources to rap on everybody's door. Yeah, that's pretty much where my thoughts are at as of now. Oh no.
Can you think of a specific day, 42, when we could perhaps start a tradition in our own house?
Yeah.
Our own family?
I can indeed. And it's going to be the outro. It's going to be the outro. This is why England Day became a thing. Now, apart from anything else, we're currently in, how far into the month are, how far in the year are we? In March? See, because so far this year, I've been driving up the road and had to slow down because people were moving pallets for the bonfire 6 times this year. Started in January. Which also means that everybody else in my local area is having that same problem. Right? And probably sounds great to live in East Belfast or the Shankill Road or any of the other loyalist parts of Northern Ireland where we do this type of thing. But you know what? It can also become pretty fucking irritating if you let it. The other thing is, I've had 2 Saturday mornings where I was lying in bed and at 9 o'clock there's a fucking flute band outside my door. Again, that was, and this is in January and February. And I've also had a thing where I was going to go to the shop and I looked outside and fuck me, there was a flute band at the bottom of the street at 8 o'clock in the evening. But because I live there, I knew that band was going to be there for 4 or 5 minutes. But if you don't live there and don't know what's going on, what it's for, what not, you just see the flute band starting up and you have no idea if it's starting off, finishing off, whether there's going to be another 50 up here or whether it's going to be just that one. So it could become very fucking irritating. But what everybody in my community, whenever you come across something like that, do is you roll down your windows, you listen to the music, and you go, who's putting up with this bullshit better, us or them? Because it's always going to be us. And like I said earlier on, the areas where you live is far too accommodating the leftists. Because I can guarantee you, any housing estate that starts themselves a flute band, or even better still, start a fucking urban Morris dancing group and make it look English. And then for St. George's Day or for England Day, have your troop go to the north, south, east, and west entrance of the housing estate, do a dance at each 4 places, march through the estate. The only people you're going to be interfering with are the people inside the estate. Getting the permissions to do that will be really fucking easy. And make it look English. And then from that Morris dancing, from that Morris group, you then book the community centre once a week for your practices. And say you're practicing from 7 to 8. Well, twice a month, every other week, you do kids Morris from 6 to 7. And you teach the kids. And then whenever somebody turns up and they're Muslim or Hindu or whatever, and they say, can my child come along? And you go, I'm not sure, can they? You see, what we're doing here is we're teaching them a May Day dance. And this is how we pray to the God of the land and the goddess of the land for a more fertile land. And it's a religious aspect. Does that, you need to go and speak to your imam or your religious leader and see if you can have your child be involved with this. You haven't told them to go away. You haven't told them you're not welcome. You've just asked them to be sure that what we do here is not going to have an adverse effect back in your house. And if you can live with that, we're quite happy to let them come here. But here's the thing. Their kids are going to want to go to it. And the only way they're going to get away from the argument with their kids about going to it is to move to a different fucking estate. And then whenever you run your event, you bring people from the housing estates around it in to watch that event. And you show them where you do your practice. And you show them the big board on the wall with all these cards on it. And tell them that if they want to move to this estate, all they need to do is pick one of these cards down, put the area to live in, the type of house that they've got, whether it's 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, ground floor, flat, whatever. And if people on this estate would like to swap with you for free via the council, they can do that. And they can move away from the English looking stuff, and those people can move in. And then you get that whole estate. And then you've got something you can build on. And then you can keep the cops out of the estate. And then you can run it for yourselves. And the next thing you do is whenever you've taught the kids to do the May Day dance, you find telegraph poles, you find football posts, you find anything that's got a post, and you attach your ribbons to it, and you get the pictures of the kids dancing around it. And then you go to a local council and say, our kids haven't got a maypole to dance around. We need an event state. We need an event space put into this estate with a maypole. And by the way, while you're doing that, you may clear off an area that will put a sand bed on. Why do you need a sand bed? Because we're going to run the kids' bonfire in this estate for Guy Fawkes night, and we're going to roast the potatoes and all in it. And by this stage, you're not political people. You're just those wacky fucking Mars dancer guys, because you've said nothing about politics the whole fucking time. Does that sound like a gore?
So we're looking for right-wing undercover Morris men.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Paul Barkley's name down for this.
Yeah, or anything like, or it doesn't necessarily have to be Morris dancers, but the other thing is, see, whenever I look at Morris dancers, do you know what I see? I see a bunch of people that were not allowed to use weapons, learning how to stick fight and putting a dance to it. I'm pretty sure that has got something to do with how Morris dancing came about. Maybe start to look into the toolbox and see what we've got that we can use to change the area. Of a lot of other things that I could say, but oh fuck, they not quite suitable for the open internet.
I said the F word on Dangerfield earlier.
Oh well, oh no, it's not because of that. It's more because they're but not technically legal. You could run from this on that. Yeah, you could run other organizations out of that as well. Yes, I get Morris dancing does look gay, but it could be a really good tool.
I'll be honest, I can't see myself doing it.
Oh, see, here's the thing: you're only looking for like 10. You're only looking for 10 guys out of each estate to run the trip. It's it's not a mass participation thing, but the other people in the state are going to be involved via fundraising and all that other type of stuff. But there you go. Right. Anyway.
I'd love to know how, Brad.
Oh. I'll tell you what, try doing Mars dancing whenever one person's got a stick and you don't, and see how fucking booched up it gets. You know, it does all look very queer until you realise that whenever the police go to break it up, they've got sticks too.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes whenever the police arrive with their soft police outfits and no shields and no things, and you're the ones with the sticks.
This is turning into a conversation of how hard are Morris dancers.
I'll tell you how hard they are. They've took the slings and arrows for fucking generations.
Yeah.
You know,
I've got no quarrel with them. I quite like them. We had a troop in my town that were all blacked up. But they kind of disappeared about 5 years ago, I think. 10 years ago.
Yeah, and so they should have been. You know, the blacking up is it's a throwback to whenever they had to disguise themselves. Oh, they're fighting sticks, Linda.
I thought it was to do with them being poachers. Not some reference to poaching.
Yeah, well, that's what the blacked up was for. The blacked up was about because they had to disguise themselves and be blacked up so that they didn't get caught whenever they were poaching.
Yeah.
And if they were seen, they couldn't be recognised. And with that, is there anything that you'd like to add or anything you think I've missed for this madness of a stream?
I don't think there's anything I could add to that. It's very interesting. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do believe you.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this as well, Mr. Pakka, and thank you so much, because I couldn't have put this across like this on my own. There's times whenever it just needs to be a conversation. We'll probably wake up in the morning and go, fuck, I left out this. Yeah, I don't know. There's a shitload of left out, but there's plenty more streams to come. Don't worry about it, people.
Yeah, I'll come on and ask stupid questions anytime you like. It's fine.
Right. And with that, I think we will play the England Day song. Yeah. And my other question is, everybody, time to have a think about what you're going to do for England Day. Can we please get involved? Can we please? I would really like a bunch of people they sent me emails. They said they're getting involved and they're able to send me a picture of whatever they've done. You don't need to be in the picture. It could be a picture of the event. It could be a picture of the fish and chips on the beach. It could be whatever that we can log on our Facebook page and in our Substack as an event that happened for proof of public participation. What makes all of these events important is a level of public participation. Granted, for the minute, I'm quite happy that England Day is very small because it means we can do it without having to fight any battles. And the idea is for it to be 5-6 years deep before we get any opposition. And that gives us time to plant a fucking George Cross in every county in England.
I look forward to it, Brad.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. And with that, I'm going to get the England Day. Oh, yeah. It would help if I should actually know what I'm doing with that. Orange. Yellow. Green. Red. Blue. Purple. I forgot what. Because I've got a MacBook, it does this really nice thing where you can put your video, you can put bunches of stuff in the different color tags, and then whenever you put that tag, it brings up all that stuff, which is great until you forget what fucking color you had assigned to your England Day video. And then it becomes problematic. Who are ye in rags and rotten shoes, all dirty and bearded, blocking up the way?
We are English. We come from the edge of Europe,
beyond which lies only water, ice and death. This is the place we made our home.
Raised our cattle, planted the crops, evoked their gods from circles formed of stone, so those gods could witness us atone.
When Roman forces did invade, we fought as lions, refused to yield, and those we left out in the field, but the English, they were the seed,
who adversity did propagate.
England Day would be the current entry for scrub stock. However, I may write, so I do have a hankering to write something else, which may or may not be ready before scrub stock, and then it could be, put it this way, if it's not the England Day one, it'll be something at that level. That's what's going to be happening for the scrub stock, mate. 100%. And we'll bring us back to the start since we interrupted. Who are ye in rags and rotten shoes, all dirty and bearded, blocking up the way?
We are English. We come from the edge of Europe,
beyond which lies only water, ice and death. This is the place we made our home.
Raised our cattle, planted the crops, evoked their gods from circles formed of stone, so those gods could witness us atone.
When Roman forces did invade, we fought as lions, refused to yield, and those we left out in the field, but the English, they were the seed,
who adversity did propagate, an indomitable people who we would fight, toil and mock in equal measure, and find humour in our adversity, because that is our way. The battle-weary tribes besieged by Vikings,
banded as brothers with Angles, Jutes and Saxons, took some years of consideration
to produce our culture of toleration. The creation of the English nation at Stamford Bridge we won the day, but William was quickly on his way.
1066, the commutation brought the cursed Norman invasion. A ruling class they would impose until calls for Magna Carta arose. And to all the kings the message was sent: you only rule us by consent.
So what of the English, I hear you ask? You know us as the working class. the ones whose toil, blood and sweat brought you the greatest empire yet. So you should learn at your mother's knee of revolutions that number 3.
That number 3.
1, 2, 3. Agricultural, where mechanized planting and harvesting was married to selective breeding, we created a food surplus, the envy of the world. Industrial, where we conjured cities to house factories inhabited by a well-paid workforce to man the machines. This coupled to the ingenuity of English engineers who never found a problem without a solution. The third, the glorious one, that brought about civil and religious liberty, one rule for all, and the radical notion that a man should profit from his labours. But we are not greedy. We exported our language, our law, our sense of fair play. In our safe shipping lanes trade flows through never-ending day.
And when Britannia ruled the waves,
we used our power to free all slaves. We managed the world and allowed all others to travel in the social order we created with humour in adversity, because that is our way. Achievements we have too many to list. From this small kingdom God has kissed, we travelled the world from the highest mountain to Arctics, Kabatic, tundra and back again. The traces of our kindness are in our railway lines that transport the world to work, our compassion in the water systems that hydrates foreign soil.
We left everywhere better than we found it, because that is our way.
I could list another thing or two, like how we taught the world to queue, but I'll leave that for another occasion. It's time to have a celebration, admire the wonders of our creation. To our ancestors, homage we must pay for doing things the English way. For we are the English, and this is our day.
who are ye? In rags and rotten shoes, all dirty and bearded, blocking up the way.
We are the pilgrims, master. We shall go always that little bit further. It may be beyond that last blue mountain barred with snow, across that angry or glimmering sea. We are the English.
Every Englishman's house is his castle. So hoist your colours on the ramparts for England Day. Then down after St George's Day. We are English and we'll be patriotic in an organised way.
Right, England Day is the Saturday before the 14th of April. Everybody start to get organised, please. Pakka has been Pakka. I have been 42. And you lot in the chat have as always been fan-fucking-tastic. Thank you. Good night. God bless. See you all next week. I'm out of here. Goodbye.